Welcome back to another history video. Today I got a banger. This one's actually better than my last one. Surprisingly. Really surprising. So, where I live, Salem, Oregon, the capital city for some unknown reason. I think it's just because it's a bit older than Portland. They made it the capital. We have the underground Salem tunnels. While I was making this, there was a lot of speculation, which we'll get to. This is going to be different. This is not going to be me holding my phone while having my other phone with a slideshow. I'm going to do something a little bit different. It's just going to be screenshots of me explaining it, and all the conspiracies and the myths and legends and stuff like that. And one more thing, I might be a little bit mad during this video because there's some stupid stuff in here that doesn't make any sense. This was whole rabbit hole. This is a really long rabbit hole I was in for a day, getting all the screenshots and whatnot for this video. So with that, let's get to what are the underground Salem tunnels. So before we start, we need to know the definition of what is a tunnel. And a tunnel is an artificial or natural underground or underwater passage. You can read through the rest, but that's basically all we really need to know. Is a tunnel is underground. It goes from point A to point B. That is a tunnel. It makes sense. This is going to be an issue later on for some reason. So we have the state hospital tunnels, which is a whole different story on its own. But we're looking at the downtown vaults and tunnels. Salem's downtown area has a history of underground basements, sidewalks, coal chutes, and vaulted areas connecting a few specific areas. Where's that at? Oh, many of these can be seen via purple hue glass pavement squares. However, the city has been actively filling in some of these vaults for safety. Here's a quick little picture. I don't know when that was taken, but somewhere downtown, I'm guessing. Seems pretty legit. It seems like they had to dig out pretty much the whole city and then put these in, which probably took a lot of time. Which leads me, when were these built? Late 1800s to early 1900s. Many commercial buildings in downtown Salem were constructed with basement storage spaces and sidewalks. Vaults extending under adjacent walkways. This is completely different, little side note, from the Shanghai tunnels in Portland. Frankly, I don't really care about Portland. So just to say, these are completely different from those. These have a whole different story. These are all photos of that as well. All right, so next part, downtown Salem vaults beneath the downtown historical center near structures and the Reed Opera House and the Capitol Center Tower. Many of these buildings feature individual underground vaults and storage areas. Originally, merchants used them for coal dispensary and receiving goods without disrupting street traffic. Golly, I'm horrible. I'm rusty at reading. And that leads us to our next one. Purple sidewalk glass. The most visible sign of these underground vaults, or downtown vaults, is the ghostly purple glass blocks set into the sidewalks. They originally carved as skylights to illuminate the spaces below. Seems I accidentally cut off the bottom. Over time, they turn purple, pretty much. They don't really know why they turned purple. They just did. So now they're all purple. Here's what they look like from above. Pretty much they're just stuck into the sidewalk. It's pretty cool. Can't really down in there because they're both fogged up. And this is what it looks like from below. A lot more old and dirty. Pretty cool though. Pretty neat. Gets us to our next part. Purple stone tunnels. Many of these tunnels were dug to connect basements to buildings. People could travel between buildings without being seen above ground. Most of the tunnels were filled in during sewer construction and sidewalk repairs, but pieces of that would still exist today. So yeah, a lot of these started like to crumble, so they've just filled them in. And they started to take them and put them to like see why they turned purple. So some of them were salvaged. I don't know why they want to just salvage all of them. So yeah. And then this is what it would kind of look like. They just rip it all up. They'd like just slowly fill it with this concrete that would get all like the small cracks and whatnot. It would just fill in all of that. So yeah, a lot of these are now gone, sadly. That'll lead us to our next thing. Some of these actually had elevator shafts, so they could get like more supplies down there and whatnot. It pretty interesting. We'll cut to our next part where you can actually see what these really looked like. I know they're all over the street pretty much. They're not as common as the glass like panels, but they're still pretty cool. I know once I was a kid, I would jump on these. Not a great idea because I'm pretty sure one of these would cave in someday. But you know, silly me, I guess. Also, Google says there's no public map of these tunnels, which there literally is. So it contradicts this. So yeah, somewhere near the Cold War, they made fallout shelters, and they like took I'm pretty sure they like reorganized like the vaults and whatnot. They made them fallout shelters. Here's a map. You can zoom in if you want. It's pretty interesting. Like really, really big area for like a full for a full like fallout shelter. There's like parking lots and whatnot. I doubt any of this stuff exists still today, but like very, very like strange and kind of cool. Now this is where we get to the confusing stuff, because this site says tunnels downtown. Local officials refuse the claim, saying the state hospital tunnel system often has been confused with downtown. So they also say the downtown tunnel myths were precipitated more than a decade ago by some oh shoot, all right. I can't even say that word. Individuals who organized underground tours to drum up tourism. YouTube videos show tour guides accomplished visitors into buildings, basements, and showing them vaults, not tunnels. Other organizations, social media sites, and even mainstream media outlets included the Statesman Journal with covers of the underground tours, speculation and public imagination. So a little side note, there was they shut down a while ago, but they would do tours of the underground Salem tunnels, and I think that's what they're talking about. My mom went to one of these, and she said that it was legit. These were tunnels. But for some reason, the state says these aren't tunnels, they're vaults. I mean, I don't doubt. I bet some of them are vaults, but it literally says that some of these literally connect to other shops, which, like I said at the beginning, is a literal definition of a tunnel. I don't know why, but in this whole thing, they just refuse to say that these are tunnels. Maybe so people won't go in them, but they're tunnels. It's proven that they were tunnels. Like here, I'll show you some pictures. You can decide on yourself, but those look like tunnels. Like, come on, that's clearly a tunnel. Like, this is from a demolished building. You can clearly see it like sticking out. If it was a vault, why would it Oh, these don't make any sense. These are clearly tunnels. Clearly. It's not a demolished building. Anyways, this leads me to Reddit once again. Shout out Reddit. I've never used Reddit or Facebook, but those are two top places of finding information. So this guy says there still are tunnels under the state hospital, but there's also an underground swimming pool, and that the tunnels connected to. I'm not sure if they're filled in of the Fairview training center or training tunnels, but those were interesting to explore a few years back. So some of you have probably seen my last video, or my last history video. I talked about Fairview. There were tunnels in Fairview. I forget if I mentioned them. I have been in those tunnels. They were all collapsed, but there would be like just some buildings that would connect to a few. A recent trend I've noticed of Salem, or a trend I've noticed, is every story connects to each other some way or another. It doesn't matter. It could be so far off, like tunnels from Salem connecting to Fairview, which is miles away. A little correction. I actually don't know if they are connected to Salem, but for a fact, Fairview had their own tunnels, probably doing evil things in them. These guys, shout out to them. Beardy 64, close enough to find and overlooked footpaths. Basically they talk about the lights and whatnot, but they also talk about a book, which I actually have. I got for my birthday. And we will be reading the segment of that book. Another one of the last few things. We're just mostly seeing the bottom. The top part, straight bull crap. But the bottom says that these were also used for smuggling. Smuggling what, you might ask? I have no clue. I know probably gold. I know there's a bank, probably gold and whatnot. And then the very last thing, this is about the myths and legends and whatnot. There is no documented of the individual Chinese heritage living or working in the tunnels of Milawat, or Milawat Heritage Center. Reports systematically scholarships, archaeologists and oral history have poked holes in these myths. But yes, the city has been, and then it just cuts to where they've been filling in. So yeah, that is Salem tunnels, pretty much. Very interesting. I'm just going to do a quick recap of this book. You can pause the video if you like and read through all the pages, but I'm just going to do a real quick recap of the segment in this book of the tunnels. So the first page is pretty much just telling you how they were made. They're made by the Chinese. Didn't know that. Very interesting. Kind of like the same as the Portland tunnels. Some photos of the glass panels I've already talked about. This page is still talking about the Chinese and how they're like, people are racist towards them, but not as bad as like Portland and whatnot. And the next part is just talking about how pretty much there was an entire city under the city. Here's some photos of like a safe and like demolished buildings showing secrets. And pretty much they're just talking about how there was an entire city under like Salem, like storefronts and stuff like that. The bottom part is part of a story. You can read through it. It was like some teens and they went in there. They saw a ghost lady. Scary stuff. The top part continues the story, and the bottom part is the person whose book was speculating that there's probably a lot of bones and whatnot. Like the whole tunnels are probably full of just a graveyard. We got more of those glass panels, and the next two pages are just kind of talking about the glass panels. So, yeah. The top part is just talking about more of the panels. And the bottom part is the guy speculating, the guy that made the book, speculating how there's probably more tunnels. Like there's tunnels under the hospital, tunnels under pretty much everything in Salem. And yeah, that's the last part. That is this section. Sorry, not very good commentary. It is 1:20 a.m. I am very tired. Transaction or transition. So, the what was I gonna say? To like full like thing. What do I think? Because you guys can't really tell me what you think unless you want to comment this in the comment section. I read comments, by the way. Probably because I don't get that many. But what I think there are tunnels. 1,000% there's got to be tunnels. But I think the city, kind of like Fairview, kind of wants to cover this up. They want no one knowing about this, like at all, which makes no, it doesn't make sense. I was gonna say it doesn't make sense because there's a lot of historical stuff, but there's a lot of shady things in where I live, like a lot. And this is just one of them. Like it feels like they're just trying to cover it up. They don't want anybody knowing about this, and everybody knows about it pretty much. So yeah, that is the end of the video. If you like this video, subscribe. And that's it. See you later, guys. This is Urbex LSW signing out. Goodbye.